everybody's trying to do their best when it comes to COVID-19 and taking care of the young people that are here. Dr. O.J. Oleka, President, Association of Independent Kentucky Colleges and Universities. Did I get that right? Because I can mess up a person's name in a heartbeat.
You got that mostly right. It is Oleka, like a lake.
Like a lake, Oleka. So what's the Independent Kentucky Colleges of Universities? How many do you have?
Sure. The Association of Independent Kentucky Colleges and Universities, or AIKCU, as we say for short, is an association that advocates for good public policy for the independent colleges of Kentucky, of which there are 18. In the Louisville area, the ones that, of course, we know the best are Bellarmine University and Spalding University, but all 18 all across Kentucky, from Owensboro all the way to Pikeville, are some of the best institutions in the state.
Yeah, some of the best. They may not be huge. Transylvania University, my kids went there for the Governor's Scholar program, and it was just unbelievable and awesome. So the work that you're trying to do, I mean, what all do you do? What is part of this AIKCU?
Well, that's an important question. What we do is advocate for good public policy as it relates to independent colleges and universities. And I repeat that because it's important. And what that means is that we effectively ensure, in particular, that low-income students can afford a college opportunity. It's a common misconception that if you go to a private college like a Bellarmine or a Thomas More or a Transy, that you have to come from wealth. We were talking about misinformation before. That's something I would call fake news in my industry, because we actually have 40% of our students who are Pell eligible, which means that they're low income, which is the same percentage as public institutions. So we graduate low-income students with affordable debt, with a manageable opportunity, a good career on the way, and a degree to boot.
But Dr. Oleka, how can students find out? I meet students all the time, and their dream is just to get that college degree because maybe no one in the family has a college degree. Where do we find this information? What's the first step?
Well, the first step is working with high school counselors in a lot of ways. My research actually looked at how high school counselors can act as a form of social capital for low-income students in particular, but all students generally. Each of our institutions work directly with high schools to make sure that students can figure out exactly what you're talking about, how to go to school, what makes the sense for their college opportunity. In fact, even in the season of COVID, as wild as things are, for most of our institutions, their enrollment is either up or it's level. Midway University and Georgetown College in particular have seen record years in terms of freshmen that are interested in college. So despite the fact that things are challenging on the ground with the pandemic, students still want to learn.
You know, my heart breaks, though, especially for high school seniors and then freshmen going into college, because those are the years that you talk about still when you're 57 years old like me. And you say, oh, man, remember senior year? Or, oh, man, remember our freshman year in college? And I'm so fearful that the kids are not getting a chance to taste that. How are we doing in COVID-19?
Well, one of the things you mentioned is that most of our institutions are, in fact, smaller. They are smaller, but they're also mightier in a lot of ways with regard to dealing with this pandemic. Each of our institutions have students on campus. They all came up with good, thorough, solid plans. I know because I looked at them all over the summer to figure out exactly how they were going to make this work for the reasons that you said. So we have students that are on campus with masks that are adorned with maybe their fraternity or their sorority or the college or university that they go to. They've got social distancing policies. They come in and they make sure that all the areas are clean. Some faculty and staff are in person, but they're also doing things virtually as well, so that students can get that experience that, as you claim to say when you're 57, I'm 32, I think we're looking at least the same age. They can still remember that because that is a critical and important experience for students as they grow.
I mentioned this earlier, too. It seems to be our young people that are stepping up without as much angst or hate in their heart, and they're trying to fix this problem that America finds itself in now. So we're dealing with all this racial injustice, but so are your colleges and so are your students. But what does that look like?
Well, thankfully, as you mentioned, this generation is the most diverse in American history. It's the most diverse with regard to colleges and students attending the institutions. And so they're looking at this in a very real and cogent way. All of our students are trying to figure out the best way that they can get involved and solve problems as it relates to racial injustice. For our institutions, it looks a lot different depending on where you are. Berea College was founded on this mission, so it's something they've been looking at since the beginning of their institution. You look at Spalding and Bellarmine in particular, who are right here in the heart of the city that has had to deal with the tragic death of Breonna Taylor. They're handling this situation differently. But I will say, even in places in eastern Kentucky, we might not think that they're dealing with this issue, they are. I went to the University of Pikeville this semester and had incredible conversations with black students, with their president. These are the things that they're focused on, and they're challenging each other to get better on, and they certainly are.
Well, it's just so funny when I look at my kids and I look at their friends and I hear their conversations. They don't talk the same way as some of the others in this mission. Did I miss anything? I don't want to miss anything that's extremely important, especially for our young people to know who are looking to go to college.
Well, I will say this. If you are a young person looking to go to college, look no further than your independent private institution in Kentucky. And in fact, if you're thinking from a community perspective how valuable each of these institutions are, we produce over $850 billion of economic impact in the community.
Wow.
Over 56,000 students go to our institutions, and over 7,000 jobs directly are impacted by the work that we do. If you go to an IQ institution, you're most likely to get a significant amount of scholarship opportunities and resources, and if you come from a low-income background, you can get up to $30,000 to go to school and make it affordable. College can be for you if you want it to be. You are the change that can make things better in this country.
All right, we believe that and appreciate it. AIKCU.org. Again, AIKCU.org. Dr. Oleka, thank you so much.
Thank you, Don.